do, just as I was discussing with Josh here, I said one of the things that is making Nigerians to go deep into corruption is that once anybody escapes poverty, he wouldn't want to test it the second time. So you see that once anybody and comes to any position that gives him money, he can do anything. He can compromise, he can be biased, he can kill, he can maim just to make sure he retains that position because he wouldn't want to go back to poverty. But once we're able to set a system that guarantees equal opportunity, equal right and opportunity, where anybody can become something that you expect to. You see that if you go, falling back to the base where you cannot even survive, that like some of them, I had somebody was telling the other person the other day, that you are no longer in government, hunger will not kill you, which means there is hunger around the corner just once that person leaves the office. So let Amoyule and his men be investigated by the IG as our elder statesman Edwin Clark.
All right, hold on to that thought. We'll still come back to some of the concerns you've raised. But before we come back to some of the things you talked about, I would love to hear from George. Well, George, what do you make of this story?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me first and foremost say that I completely disagree with the call by Edwin Clark, you know, for the IG to investigate the Amehule-led assembly members. I don't agree to that. I want to state this on air, that an affidavit can be abandoned. It is not against the rule of the court. So if Edwin Clark is saying this, it's based on the can reverse itself. It is not for Edwin Clark to begin to call it, you know, in a judgment obtained by fraud. He himself should be investigated. So what am I trying to say here is that affidavits by the rule of court can be withdrawn from the court, can be abandoned. It is the rule of the court. So if for any reason Martin and his group have sworn an affidavit and later realize that what they swore was not in line with what they are looking for, whatever, they have the right to withdraw it, which they have done. So for me, I do not want to belabor this matter. The call for investigation of Amehule is not, you know, welcomed by me. It's not welcomed. They have not deceived the court into giving any fraudulent judgment. The courts cannot be deceived by any single individual. Thank you.
All right. Before I get back to George, I want to ask you some questions. Now, George raised a very salient point when he talked about affidavits being, there is this window to, you know, it can be resworn, it can be withdrawn, and all of that. Now, talking about obtaining judgment by fraud, the Rivers State government had, I mean, it was a litigation, you know, and they had the window to respond to that, which they did actually. They responded, they had their own counter affidavit. But along the line, they chose to withdraw it. And the court gave judgment based on what was presented, the facts presented before it. Now, would one say that this call makes any iota of sense, considering, you know, that the state government has waived its right over this matter?
You see, I said earlier here, and I would like to uphold to that, that if you are called honorable, try to at least present up to 45% honorability or excellence in your behavior and dealings on issues that pertains to your personal life. The 7 lawmakers.
For the investigation on perjury.
Yeah, it's okay for me. One, my reason is this. You see, when you want to act on issues that will affect the people, affect the state, you should remove your personal sentiment out of it. That is where we are getting it.
And you feel Edwin Clark is not sentimental in his position. In your view.
In my view, I'm not checking his psychological stand.
Oh.
To me, I'm not checking his psychological stand. I am checking him based on the truth, on the fact he presents to me. And that fact is that this judgment is fraudulent. The people have committed perjury.
You cannot say judgment is fraudulent.
No, he said, I am quoting him. He said that the judgment is obtained by fraud. Yes, because of the information that was given. You read it now, so it is it's clear. But look at us, let us look at it from this angle, Laurentia. To me, Edwin Clark is exposed. He has been a federal, in fact, he has held several offices. And considering his age, he has seen the 99. And I don't see any reason why someone who is yet to see 30 will stand to say that a man who has seen 99 does not know what he's doing. In as much as I am an Igbo man, we respect old age. In as much as I am Igbo man and we respect old age, we tell the truth. And when an old man tells lies, we will put our mouth by the corner and tell him, okay, you know, talk through.
I was coming to that point where I wanted to
we will come there. But let me clear my point before you ask me your question.
An Igbo adage that says, because you're now trying to give relevance to the statements of Edwin Clark by the reason of age and associating age with wisdom when it comes to politics in this instance. You know, I will speak in Igbo language, the adage in Igbo language with regards to what you've said, and also translate it in English. Igbo people will say, and it means that when a king keeps misbehaving, you know, his subjects will wear a veil and tell him the truth. So it means that regardless of your age, regardless of your standing, regardless of your position, there is also that possibility of not being accurate. And there is also that possibility that when you get to that point, people will definitely critique your stand. That's why I asked, when you're saying Pa Edwin Clark has seen 99, he has held different positions, you will not remove the fact that Edwin Clark is a politician. And when it comes to politics, it boils down to interests. One would ask questions. Now, Edwin Clark is accusing the Rivers State House of Assembly of oath misuse, that is swearing affidavit that they are defected from PDP to APC when they have not in actual truth defected, because they did not fulfill the party constitutional provision for defection. And he's telling the IG of police to probe them, which brings down two things are on ground. One, the IG of police, is it right to tell the IG of police to probe an issue that is already in court, and everybody is hoping that the Supreme Court judgment will give clarifications on that? And you're saying he is experienced, he has seen 99, he understands politics, he's on the side of the truth. Why not let the Supreme Court give judgment on this city? Why not let the Supreme Court clarify all these issues? Why calling for a probe? That's on one hand. On the other hand, Edwin Clark, to some extent, or would I say interestingly, forgot to mention that the Rivers State government pulled out of the court case. So he cannot, one would ask, how did Amewule obtain judgment by fraud when there was not a counter affidavit to counter their prayers or to counter the facts or evidences they presented before the court? That is on one hand. There has also been counterclaims or counter accusation by the Rivers State House of Assembly, accusing the governor on one hand of constitutional infractions, and accusing him of not obeying court judgments. And to a large extent, in all the accusations being leveled against the governor, not once has Pa Edwin Clark, Chief Edwin Clark, the 99-year-old or 90-something-year-old man that you claim, Edwin Clark, has come out on the side of the truth to say, executive, these are your excesses. The assembly, these are your excesses. Now, Rivers State has come to a point where it is. The same Edwin Clark has set up the PANDEF that he's leading, has set up a committee, a reconciliation committee, to reconcile Fubara and Wike, and, you know, bring this Rivers State crisis to an end. Less than a week into that, the same him, so that wounds can heal and this crisis will end.
I like it when you pile up points.
So go ahead.
In their thousands. for me to address in 1 minute.
You have more than 1 minute.
Yeah, I'm coming, you know, because when you are doling out the points you made, it is like putting a square peg in a round hole.
All right.
So it can never match.
Okay.
Edwin Clark at this point has not become an evil king. At this point, he has not become an evil king. So I said in this place, why did Omotosho give his judgment? Was everybody who wants to discuss on that judgment must go back to the antecedents, trace back to the beginning of it. Yes, this man instituted this litigation and the governor raised his defense. But before the hearing, they all went to Abuja for a peace meeting. There was a peace deal, and Mr. President said, please go and withdraw your cases in the courts. And the governor came back as somebody who wants to obey someone who is in a higher authority, because president is executive, but we look at president as super executive. Now the governor decided to obey, unknown to him that the people he was dealing with are naturally fraudulent in themselves. So he withdrew his own defense from the case. After withdrawing his defense from the case, he also presented the commissioner. He accepted commissioners that willingly, according to the instruction of Mr. President. But while he was even presenting to them and ready to carry out the rest of the, he now discovered that the people I'm working with are not really towing the same path with me. That was the point where he said, no, let me watch. At least I've done 1, 2, 3. Let them do one. But they've not. The only thing they did was to withdraw the impeachment notice willingly. That they didn't swear what they swore, but unknown to them that they have. So to me, all the points here boils down to this: if you close our political system, and I cannot look, and anything I don't see. So what Amehule and his cohorts are doing, the truth about the whole thing is that they are fighting for the control billion people in Rivers State. These few, and the governor is saying, now that God is relieving us from who have taken us as captives, we will not allow that. Look at what happened in the past 8 years. We've seen the way he should be allowed to work for at least for these 4 years.
All right, all right, interesting
points to deal with.
Hold on, I gave you enough points, and what you did was to Nicodemusly. Maneuver your way out of all the questions I've asked you. You did that.
Lorenza,
and at the end of the day,
try to be just with me. Try to be just with me. You have not been just with me.
And at the end of the day, you did not address 1 point that I raised. 1 point you did not address.
Why should I address the point that I consider irrelevant to me?
Hold on, because you know it's a very uncomfortable question to ask, going by your stand, and I respect that. I also respect the fact that you...
We are seeing, someone that has everything going for him, that is so sanctimonious, is the same person that is a product of the same system that you're condemning. I don't want to go to that. That is not why we are here. We are talking about Edwin Clark's position that the IG should investigate Amehule and the other 26 members. For me, that judgment was not obtained by fraud. My colleague here was talking about the governor. The man only did about 2. What happens to re-representing the budget to the assembly members, the constituted assembly members led by Martins Amehule? He did not do that. So Edwin Clark is deeply involved in being biased, siding the governor. So there's nothing wrong. He was even the one of the persons, let me even say it on air, that misled the governor. Edwin Clark was one of the persons, alongside Rufus Ada George, Sarah Igwe, and the others, all Ijaw people, were the ones that misled the governor not to accept the peace accord reached in Abuja, an accord that the governor willingly, without coercion, signed. He was the first person that signed after it was read. After he came back here, these same men were the ones that met him. Why would you agree to that? Political solution is not constitutional solution. It's not constitutional. It was the same person that led through Sarah Igwe. They went to court. They tried to stop the peace accord that it was not constitutional. The court had to rule that they do not have locus on the matter. That was how that one died. So Edwin Clark is one of the persons that misled the governor of Rivers State not to have accepted a peace accord that he willingly signed without condemn is divided.
So why
it's really an unfortunate. I have just told you earlier here that Edwin Clark is a German, he's an ethnic bigot. Let me use that word. The whole thing you see he's doing today is because his governor of Rivers State today should continue. Anything, this fight, if it continues, will affect, the peaceful governance of the state in Rivers State. So they are coming. Why the man who is being moved by that, bigotry continues? I was quite, surprised to, because like I said, a fortnight ago, the matter was discussed here for peaceful resolution of the matter. How come the same man who is the leader of the PANDEF is coming out again to tell the IGP to investigate, the perjury case of Amehule and the other 26 members? He's trying to, he understands that very soon Supreme Court will rule on the matter. So what he's doing...
You think is to put pressure on...
Yes, on the Supreme Court. That is just what he's doing. There's no other thing.
All right.
Trying to preempt the court into giving, favorable judgment to, the governor of Rivers State. But like I said earlier, emotion does not mix with fact and law. The law is the law. Affidavit can be resworn, affidavit can be withdrawn, affidavit can be abandoned. So if Martins and group have decided to abandon it or withdraw it, it does not, go against the rules of the court.
Okay. Still on Rivers State, chairman of the All Progressive Congress Caretaker Committee in Rivers State, Tony Okocha, has expressed interest in becoming the new chairman of the state chapter of the party. Speaking with press on Tuesday, Okocha, a loyalist of the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike, said the state needed a vibrant leader to reposition the APC 6 months after the Emeka Beke-led executives were dissolved. He, however, mentioned that he would first consult and seek his wife's approval before entering the race. He said, "Our leadership my wife, as she's my chief confidant. If she agrees, the state can be truly called rivers of possibilities and the treasure base of the nation. We cannot afford to lag." The dissolution of the Beke-led executive by the party's National Working Committee sparked controversy, with the ousted officers seeking redress in court. Their dismissal was eventually overturned 2 months ago by a Rivers State High Court in Port Harcourt, the state capital. However, the APC National Working Committee has remained steadfast in supporting Okocha's caretaker committee over reinstating the former executive. Okocha's leadership of the party has been a thorn in the side of Governor Simlaye Fubara and the faction of the People's Democratic Party loyal to him. The Okocha led a week later on 23rd November 2024, and the State Congress will take place on Saturday, November 30, 2024. Welcoming the decision, Okocha, who served as the Chief of Staff to former Governor Rotimi Amechi from 2007 to 2020, expressed confidence that the best officer